This is my Animal Farm presentation by research. The first thing I'm covering in this slideshow presentation is a brief history of the Russian Revolution. During World War I, the working class was suffering under the rule of a monarchy and a really cruel and unforgiving government. So due to that, the working class and laborers revolted against the higher classes, like the monarchy that was there at the time and the government. I'm pretty sure they executed the monarchy that was there at the time, and they tried to establish a communistic government after, but it would turn more into a dictatorship later on. So, the next thing I'm going to be discussing is communism and socialism and how they were created. Communism was an idea made by Marx, Karl Marx. Karl Marx. And he came up with this idea in, I forgot when he came up with this. He came up with this during the War of 1812, which happened during the US. The basic idea of communism is that everyone should be on a normal state of understanding. There's no higher class, there's no royalty, no noble classes, no underclasses, no poverty. Everything is distributed across everyone equally. Socialism follows a similar setup, but instead of distributing everything equally, everything is distributed on how much you contribute to the state by work, law enforcement, schooling, education, etc. Main ideas of both of the things I just mentioned, communism and socialism, are most of the things I stated before. They both want to try to get rid of the upper classes like nobility and royals, and they want to establish a common ground between all the citizens of a nation. Communism is more laid back on this matter by making sure that everyone's needs are distributed equally and that there's no government. Socialism is more flexible, giving people what they need on how much they contribute to a nation. Most of them, they both have the same goal in mind, to get rid of the higher classes and to establish equalism for every type of race and class of humans in the society. In class, we read a book called Animal Farm, which was a political satire to the Russian Revolution that we learned about. The reason that this book and these events in real life were connected were because the exact same things happened, just with different characters in a different place at a different time. In the Russian Revolution, the start of it, the working class revolted against a higher up in class that were making them work too much and giving them minimum wages. They weren't being fed enough food, living the minimal conditions of life. And just like that, in Animal Farm, the main characters, who are the animals that work on the farm, only survived on the most minimal of requirements from the owner of the farm, who was Mr. Jones. Due to this, they revolted against Jones and tried to establish their own government, which is going to be communistic, but was more guided towards socialistic, where everyone would get equal contribution due to how much they contributed. Eventually, the only people that were actually trying to work towards the socialism and communism of the whole Animal Farm were easily eliminated by a character that wanted all of the power of Animal Farm and wanted to get his own easy personal life off the expense of the others at the farm. The same thing happened in Russia with one of the people that revolted against the working class, who eliminated the other people he was working with to make the government equal for everyone else, and making Russia into a dictatorship until they revolted again. The character I was set to research and see how he was a satire of who he represented in real life was Boxer. Boxer was representing the working class of Russia during the time. At the start, they were rebellious but still loyal, which was exactly Boxer's description at the start. He was young, strong, not that smart, but still loyal to everyone around him and his fellow comrades. In Russia, the working class suffered under the government they had at the time, which was a monarchy. And although Boxer wasn't shown suffering at any time or point when Jonas, who was the supposed monarch satire in Animal Farm, never showed any type of suffering, it was assumed that he did suffer under the rule of Jonas. After the revolution happened, him representing the working class immediately got back, being the loyal and having the undying support of the higher class at the time, would start to have a happy life under this new rule of everyone is equal. For some time, this was a good time for the working class in Boxer. Everyone was happy, everything was equally distributed, work and necessities of life weren't hard, and the necessities of life were equally distributed amongst the people and animals in Animal Farm. But soon after, the character out for power, named as Napoleon, became corrupt due to his overwhelming power over all the other animals on the Animal Farm. And he started to control and change the way the Animal Farm functioned, turning it into a dictatorship. Boxer stood there the whole time. Being not as intelligent as the others, he wasn't able to see through most of Napoleon's tricks and deception of trying to steal power until the very end. Towards the end of the book, like most of the loyal working class in Russia, he continued to suffer through everything that was happening at the time until eventually he was killed by Napoleon sending him off to get butchered by a knacker, and the working class obviously dying over lack of nourishment, overwork, and being in dangerous living situations at the time. This is why Boxer was a satire of the working class in Animal Farm. These are the sites that I used in this presentation. Another primary source was the book Animal Farm by George Caldwell. I don't remember